All right, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, citizens of YouTube. This is Boaz here and Brother Santa here, and we're coming with another episode in Carpenter's Corner. Just trying to give as much insight and wisdom and understanding in terms of how we need to go about moving and how we need to go about developing and growing in spirit and truth. But in addition to that, how do we know about go about dealing with people, especially in this hour that we're living in? Because as we see, uh, the world is waxing more and more colder and colder and colder. So we need to understand how we need to be moving, because not only do these concepts that we're talking about will help you in business, it'll help you in life in general. And so, with that being said, you want to say something about Santi? Just
Yeah, no, I
introduce
think
yourself.
this is definitely a good topic. Um, because it's certainly something that we deal with really just as believers in general.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to come in situations where you're dealing with difficult people, where you're dealing in difficult situations, and you got to know how to deal righteously in those matters. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think this is a good topic to go over for sure.
So that's what we're going to be discussing today. We're going to be discussing, and the topic is just dealing with difficult people, dealing with difficult clients, and how to overcome, how to engage people, because at the end of the day, you're dealing with clients, and it goes into you're dealing with brothers, so you're brethren, so you're going to have to tread wisely and deal
Hmm.
wisely with people, especially in the time that we're living in. I mean, during the past couple of weeks, uh, in the past week, just Yah's put in my heart just to reveal and talk about certain things that are just so relevant today, and how you need to be engaging, how need to be moving, so that we don't fall into the snare, of Satan, because he wants us to be in our feelings and emotions. He
Hmm.
wants us to be stirring up anger. He wants us to be acting in a carnal perspective. But we understand that this is a spiritual war that we're dealing with. We
Right.
wrestle not against flesh and blood, and so this is what it says over and over again: no man after the flesh, but after the spirit.
Right.
And so when you deal with people and you understand that you're dealing with spiritual matters, and you're looking at people, this is a spiritual war, and
Hmm.
you're not going to win a uh, the true battle carnally. You're not going to deal with it through arguing, shouting and fussing and fighting and fisticuffs, and all of that stuff. You're not going to win that way. The best way um, that you can deal with things is through positivity. How do you deal with negative people? Like I said, you can cut them off. You can leave them alone, but you can deal positively with people. And what I've come to understand is that success is revenge. If you want to really stir up folks, man, just succeed at your dreams, goals, aspirations. You ain't got to do anything against people, because what I've come to find also is that people destroy themselves.
Hmm.
People bring themselves to naught. You ain't got to sometimes we want to uh push our own agenda. What we want to do is we want to push our own judgment on matters, when at the end of the day, all you have to do is just sit back and be patient. Just
Right.
give it time.
Right.
And once you give it time, you'll find that people are exposed. People are is going to show their hands, not 100, but 1,000% of the time. They're going to show their hands. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to be dealing with, how do we deal with clients, how do we deal with escalations, and we want to be wise on how we engage people.
Right.
So with that, what said, we're going to be going into, and I'm going to be talking about some experiences that I had this week. And it's important to first start off with the experiences.
Yeah.
Start off
Yeah.
with, what has brought this to pass. And so, as I do carpentry work, I do handyman work, and I had two interesting experiences this week that made me go, so what's going on here? What's going on here? And that's where the spirit of discernment comes into play. So, one client, I had this week, there's a lot of water damage, and people got leaky roofs, leaky faucets, and I'm telling you, man, it's good money in that. Because once a pipe is busted or broken or whatever, it causes water damage, and that water damage can be a leaky roof or whatever, and that damage at that sheetrock, the damage of wood flooring, sub flooring, all that stuff got to be tore out. All that stuff got to get fixed. And so what I got to do is I got to go in there and I got to fix the problem. And that stuff is costly. That stuff is costly. It's time consuming. It's tedious work. And so we go ahead and get it done. So one situation that I had this week, early in the week, uh, I had to fix a roof. No, fix the sheetrock that was rotted from a roof that was leaking. I went in here and I fixed it, and the client wanted me, or they said that they wanted me to do additional work. Um, and I said, all right, cool, and I charged the client to fix that. It was like it couldn't have been no more than a 4 by 5 section, 4 feet by uh 3 foot section of ceiling, sheetrock. So I had to square out, cut out a section of the sheetrock, put the insulation in there, screw in the new piece of sheetrock, mud it and tape it, and then retexture the ceiling so that because a lot of ceilings, they have texture. Um, and so went ahead and did all of that, and I charged the client $300 with labor and materials. And the materials, I mean, some projects I'll charge labor and materials because I have the material. I have extra pieces of sheetrock. I have the extra mud. I have the extra tape. So why not go? It's just scrap, and in my shed that I have, and I just go ahead and just use that stuff and fix it. That's why it's so good to hoard materials, because I can make additional money off those materials, and it costs me nothing because I got it from additional project. So I sense that the client, and it's really about the woman. This is what I've noticed in these two separate situations. I'm dealing, or the woman is engaging me when it comes to the projects, and what I've noticed is that's always a red flag when it comes to that. And so, in these two situations, whether it was the subfloor work or whatever, they say, no, we don't want you to do the work anymore, or your services are no longer needed. And the first thing I did was I checked my Google reviews to see if they gave me a bad review, and they didn't do anything. So that told me that there was something going on else that just didn't meet the eye. And in those situations, goes into Proverbs 15:1. A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to anger a client. You don't want to inflame them so that they go ahead and give you a bad review. And that has an effect. So what I did was, number one, I sensed that these are some Jezebel women, because the man is writing the check, but the woman is running her mouth. And I've talked, before about, situations where, a man is not leading his home in terms of making sure that things are getting fixed, things are getting, and you got to deal with the woman. And it's always a red flag there. So, that's the situation that I had. And, first and foremost, you got to do self examination. What could I have done better? What could I have done differently? Um, and sometimes you can't put a finger on it, but you got to stay firm and understand what you're dealing with, and move forward. But I got the sense that they didn't like the amount of money that I was charging them, and the reason why I realized that was because I'm dealing with this other client, and I charged them like $1,200 to fix this section of floor. And we did it. I got it done in a day. We got there at about 12 o'clock. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. It took me about 7, 8 hours to do. I had to rip up the floor. I had to fix the subfloor. I had to fix the plumbing and cut out and redo the plumbing or whatever. And it took about 8 hours to do. So that was about probably, what that come out to? Like $125 an hour I got paid. So I think they were upset at the fact that I was able to get it done in a day, and I charged them $1,200. But it is what it is. You know me. I charge premium rates, and I'm not going down on my pricing pretty much for anybody. I don't think I'm in a position that needs to do that. But have you ever had a situation like that?
Yeah, I mean, it happens every now and again. You come across people that they can't be satisfied, or
Mm-hmm.
they're nitpicking certain things. Um, and generally, all you can really do is, if you can at that point, try to engage with them and say, okay, what how can we make this right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can't make it right,
Mm-hmm.
but if you can, then I try to do my best to make a situation right. And every situation is different.
Mm-hmm.
Every gripe is different, but if it's possible to make the situation right, as opposed to me, getting, like you mentioned, which is wise, to
Yeah.
not get say inflammatory things to them, to make the situation worse. You entreat them in a way that is in a professional manner, in a wise manner, to just try to de-escalate the situation. Sometimes they're irate about a particular thing for whatever that reason may be.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're very passive and whatever they're having an issue with. But it's important they communicate and engage. And if you can fix the issue, that's the first thing I try to do. I try to discern the situation and see, okay, if I can talk to this individual, see if I can fix it. And if not, you just move on.
Mm-hmm.
You just and that's really all you can do. But the thing you don't do, like you mentioned, is try to stir up a situation to make it worse by you know you know saying something that's going to inflammatory.
Mm-hmm.
Saying something inflammatory, which it does happen. There are situations when you have a contractor or whatnot, or a technician that's dealing with a customer, and they got a short temper, and they start shouting and getting upset. What I'm saying, with the customer that they're dealing with, and that just creates a whole nother situation. So having temperance is important,
Mm-hmm.
not just dealing with business, but dealing with brothers as well. Dealing with people in the faith as well. you know, Having temperance, uh, one of the fruits of the spirit. We talked about this like months ago. Being able to have temperance, because nothing is really ever, worth um, losing your cool over,
Yeah.
especially in a situation like
Mm-hmm.
that. You know what I'm saying? So um, that's really my take on it, man. It's just try to find a solution. I'm always solution oriented, man.
Yeah.
Like that's all that's how I look at it. I mean, I'll give an example myself personally. I was dealing with it was probably a couple weeks ago. It was a stackable washer and dryer, um, and the dryer wasn't heating. Make a long story short, um, I had troubleshooted, did everything I could do, and I thought it was a operating thermostat issue, so I ended up replacing that. Then that wound up not being an issue,
Mm-hmm.
and when I looked deeper, it was an electrical issue. It was actually something he caused because he was trying to somehow hook that circuit up to a generator and something like that, and it blew the circuit. But it took me, actually doing some extra investigation to find out where the short, or where the circuit it was missing one leg of power. So that's why the dryer wasn't operating properly. So I had to trace that out. And but he was, and before I got to that point, he was like upset with me because, like, well, you didn't fix it, and now, you know, um, he was just upset because I didn't fix it the first time, and he was like, well, do you know what you're doing, and this and
Mm.
that. The whole time I stayed calm. The whole time I was like, well, I'm gonna make sure I take care of this. Let me just look a little further. You know what I'm saying? I kept my cool.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, when I found out the issue and I fixed the issue, he apologized to me, wanted to pay me more than what I asked.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But had I got flustered and you know what I'm saying, it would have turned into a whole nother situation. So, it's just that's just an example of, you know, we gotta always keep our temperance. You know what I'm saying? And matter of fact, I like to go to Romans chapter 12. I want to just go there real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Romans chapter 12 and let's see, read verses 9 through 18. Romans 12. Okay. I'm gonna start at verse 9. Romans
Mm-hmm.
chapter 12, I'm gonna start at verse 9. It says, let love be without dissimulation. Abhor that which is evil and cleave to that which is good. Be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love and honor, preferring one another. Not slothful in business, fervent in spirit, serving Yah,
Mm-hmm.
rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing in constant, continuing in constant in prayer,
Mm-hmm.
distributing to the necessity of the saints, giving to hospitality. Bless them which persecute you. Bless and curse not. Rejoice with them that do rejoice, and weep with them that do weep. Be of the same mind one toward another, not high, not high things, but condescend to men of low estate. Be not wise in your own conceits. Recompense no man to no man evil for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men. In verse 18, if it be possible, as much as lies within you, live peaceably with all men. So that's the thing we have
What
to.
was that? That's Romans 12.
Romans 12 and last verse I read is verse 18.
Okay. All right. All right. Because it stresses that there, and it says, just read it one more time. Romans 17 through 21. Repay no one evil for evil, but given through thought to do what is honorable in the sight of all men, if possible, so far as it depends on you. Live peaceably with all. Now, a lot of people, they ain't gonna want to live peaceful, and that's what separation is good for.
Exactly. Yeah.
But beloved, never avenge yourselves, and this is so important. I've had to learn this personally. I just now did a video a couple of hours ago talking about this very same thing. Beloved, never avenge yourselves, but leave it to the wrath of Yah. For it is written, vengeance is mine, and I will repay, saith Yah. To the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink. For by doing so, you will heap burning coals on your head. For by doing so, you will heap burning coals on your head. Do not become overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Meaning that, it's just so much there, and there's so much for us to learn when it comes to clients and dealing with people in general. Because listen here, vengeance is his. And that's my personal testimony as well. You ain't got to do nothing. Just let Yah, it may take years
Yep.
for somebody to get what's coming due to them. But hey, man, at the end of the day, when it comes due, it comes due, and you just thank the Father for it. But it ain't gonna come via your own might, via your own strength, via your own push, via your own prayers, and this and the third. All you got to do is just sit back and just give it time. So, that's when it comes to, dealing with, stuff like that. And then, from a client perspective, hey, You can't win them all. You're
Yeah.
always gonna want to uh, uh, keep your cool. And
Yeah.
again, I just did a video about this a couple of hours ago. Always keep your cool. Always remain stoic. Always have self control, because if you lose self control, then you put yourself in a situation it's where you can't walk back from something.
Absolutely.
You can't walk back from
Absolutely.
something. You can't, once you put yourself in that situation, and you've escalated, then the situation is beyond your control. It's beyond your situation. And then it is what it is. Thank you so
Right.
much, sweetie.
Absolutely. No, that's true. I mean, and I mean, really think about it. Yah is, he calls us to be sober minded. You know, and you can't be sober when you're, full of wrath. Now, obviously, when somebody is trying to attack you, your person trying to attack you or your family, that's a totally different scenario. But
Hmm.
if we're talking about a situation where there's disagreement, you know what I'm saying? I'll take that. Yeah.
Okay.
If we have if there's a situation where there's some type of disagreement or some type of contention, um, we have to strive to find a solution. You know what I'm saying? Find a resolution. But see, there's another thing though. Some people can't be reasoned with.
Yeah.
You have to discern: can this person be reasoned with, or am I dealing with a fool?
Hmm.
Because one thing about a fool, they can't be corrected, they can't be reasoned with, and so you're just wasting your time. So you
Hmm.
have to discern that as well. But if you can reason with somebody and come to a resolution, um, cool. But you got to do it in a cool and calm spirit. You can't resolve no conflict when you're shouting with, when you're both shouting with each other, or with you shouting with another brother or what have you. You know,
If I'm
you got to keep your cool. You got to maintain, you know, um, sobriety in the situation. You know what I'm saying? But there are times where people just simply can't be reasoned with, and that goes to what you mentioned earlier. Separation is in order. Separation is necessary at that point.
hmm
You know what I'm saying? And did you have something else you wanted to read? I was going to read something else if you has, unless you had something else you wanted to
no,
bring
yeah,
up.
but just from that perspective, especially from a client perspective, never get into an argument
Right,
or a confrontation with a client.
right.
I mean, if it's just to the point where it's just, listen here, I've been in situations before where I've looked clients in the face and says, I want your business, but I don't need your business.
Mm-hmm,
Straight up like that. Straight up like that. You
mm-hmm,
know what I'm saying? But overall, you don't want to get in any confrontations, with clients.
mm-hmm.
You want to make sure that you can avoid it at all costs. Avoid confrontation, and then it goes in with brethren, and you want to, sometimes situations unavoidable, um and that's why in certain situations you just may want to just separate yourself. You know what I'm saying? Leave them alone, forgive, and just go on, because a lot of people, especially in this day and age, they're not going to admit that they did anything wrong. They're not going to admit, especially, a client, they ain't going to admit that they did anything wrong, or they was out of order, out of pocket, whatever. As long as you can just step back from that situation and say, hey, it is what it is. Y'all have a blessed night. And that's what I did in this one situation. The client started getting nasty. I said, is there anything else I can do? Is there anything else, I'm saying, I
Right,
can clean up or whatever? She's like, no, yeah, I have a blessed day, and walk right out the door.
right.
Because I'm saying, even though whatever it is that ticked them off, maybe it was the price or something, and the husband liked me. I didn't get any sense that the husband had any issues with me whatsoever. But what I'm saying? I mean, but for whatever reason, the wife wasn't feeling me or whatever.
Mm-hmm,
But what I'm saying? The first thing I checked was my little Google reviews to make sure that there was no you finished that? That there was no nasty comments or anything like that
mm-hmm.
that was left um on uh on the on my Google reviews. You know what I'm saying? I was just trying to make sure that, but nothing was there. And I was like, all right, cool. Well, maybe they didn't like it, maybe they didn't like the price or whatever. I got my money and I left.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's all you can do because I mean you keeping your peace and you maintaining peace and you seeking peace. And
Yeah.
that's the next thing I want to read in Psalms 34.
Psalms 34.
And I'm just going to read verses 12 through 14.
Uh-huh.
And it says, "What man is he that desires life and loves many days that he may see good? Keep your tongue from evil and your lips from speaking deceit or speaking lies."
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing. Keeping your tongue from evil. Um, there's so much damage that can be done with the tongue. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean?
There's
And
one certain, yeah.
you mentioned earlier. I think you read in Psalms where it talks about a kind word turns away wrath.
Yeah.
Um, you know what I'm saying? Proverbs 15:1. You know what I'm saying? It's the same principle in every aspect of life, whether you're dealing with people in the world or whether you're dealing with people in the faith. A
Mm-hmm.
kind word, a soft answer, is always going to turn away wrath. But a lot of times, pride is in the midst of the situation, and when you got pride does what? It puffs up. So you're going to be, you're not going to be able to be reasoned with if you got a spirit of pride on you, or if the other individual has a spirit of pride on them.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reasoning, yeah, especially in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so at that point, um, what's going to end up happening is it's going to be a lot of harsh words, a lot of things that are going to stir up wrath and stir up anger, and we see this time and time again. But no wisdom is being used in that type of instance. With the wisdom is to, you know what I'm saying, a lot of times, again, you got to discern what you're dealing with because every situation is different. If you see that you're dealing with a person that you know you can't reason with,
Mm-hmm.
that you know is full of pride, all you can do is try to give them, speak the truth
Mm-hmm.
firmly, and if you got to depart from that individual, that's what you have to do. You know what I'm saying? But there's no need to, because at the end of the day, we're trying to endure to the end. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we're trying to find a way to put ourselves in a situation where we can endure into the end. And having constant strife and conflict, you're not going to be able to endure. And your spirit is going to be ran amok
Mm-hmm.
at some point. Um, it's important to have um, uh, to keep your tongue from evil and your lips from speaking lies. It's critical. And then in verse 14 it says, "Depart from evil, do good, seek peace, and pursue it."
Mm-hmm.
But y'all are saying this is a man that desires life and loves would love to see many days and see good.
Mm-hmm.
This is the end. This is what a man will do. This is how he's going to operate. He's going to depart from evil. He's going to seek peace. He's going to keep his tongue from speaking evil and speaking lies. We have to put this into practice.
Mm-hmm.
We can't just look at this as black words on white paper. I mean, we got to really, because there's wisdom in this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And we can trace so many conflicts and we can trace so many issues and contentions, and it always leads to pride. Pride is a lot of times the root of the issue. And there was words that was said, there were inflammatory things said that stirred up the conflict because if a soft answer was given from the beginning, especially amongst brothers, this shouldn't even be. We should this should never be.
Mm-hmm.
But it is, unfortunately. But if a soft answer was given from the beginning and it was actually understanding being sought in the matter and love being implemented in the matter, then a lot of times we can avoid a lot of the nonsense that we see today.
Well, absolutely. And the idea is that we need to distinguish between, um, how can I distinguish this? Put this in context. Me and this brother sitting here, right? And something may come up, something just may pop up. In that context, you know what I'm saying? How do we engage that situation? As opposed to There's somebody that's just flat out just representing Satan's kingdom. There's something that, you know what I'm saying. I mean, you talking about these ravenous wolves. We ain't talking about this situation.
That's
We're
totally
just talking
different.
about
Totally different.
you know, dealing with clients, dealing with brethren, just a standard interaction between people. That's what we're talking about. So it needs to be put in context. You know what I'm saying? Um, because we're supposed to expose the workings of Satan and the devil. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Expose them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But we're not talking about that. We're talking about just a overall general interaction with people, whether it with clients or brother, or between sister and sister. Because sometimes, hey, like Hebrews says, Hebrews 12:14, strive for peace with everyone, and for the holiness without which no one will see Yah. So you're supposed to strive with peace, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just in general, when it comes to, just basic interactions with your brother and your sister, just strive for peace, man. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And like I
yeah.
was saying, you have to discern what you're dealing with. If you're dealing with somebody that's basically a reprobate,
Yeah. You ain't gonna do nothing with that.
Unrepentant, pride, they think they're totally justified in what they're doing, even after they're being admonished by somebody other than you in the matter, and they continue to persist in that. That's when you have to, you know what I'm saying, that's when you got to separate from that individual. You know what I'm saying? That's when you have to, rebuke somebody sharply, and if you continue to bring brothers to the matter and they still don't repent from it, then you got to separate. You know what I'm saying? But every situation is different, but there's a way to do it according to the book. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it is a good thing to expose, especially in front of everybody, so people can see what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's necessary to do that. You know what I'm saying? So every situation is different.
Take this. Thanks.
But I wanted to, unless you had another comment you wanted to make, I'm going to go to Proverbs chapter 18.
No, we can go. It's that special sauce that we put on the steak, and it's that Cajun rice. Felt like we should have had some side dishes or something, some string beans or something. Hate to feel like when something's missing in a meal,
I ain't complaining. It looked good to me.
Oh, it looked good to me. I've had it dozens of times.
Yes, sir. You want me to pray with food?
Oh, after we eat. Learn that one, huh? You pray after you finish eating.
I heard about that.
Yeah, you pray after you finish eating, not before.
I don't know the understanding behind it. I've yet to find the understanding behind that.
We'll leave that alone right quick, man. That's what I heard. Backed up by scripture. Ain't it beautiful? Ain't it beautiful? Huh? Yeah, somebody watching, you know what I'm saying, it corrected us on it. You know what I'm saying? And I looked it up and it was right. See, it's okay to be corrected. It's okay. Yeah. We ain't gonna go to hell. Yeah. I mean, it's all good, right? But go ahead.
Yes, I'm going to Proverbs 18. I'm gonna just start at verse 1. And it says, through desire, a man, having separated himself, and intermeddleth with all wisdom. A fool has no delight in understanding. But that his heart may discover itself. It's a whole lot to be said in there. Because there's a lot of people that are foolish, man. And it just, you have to be able to discern that. But it says a fool has no delight in understanding. So a fool ain't going to want to get to the, they're not going to do things according to understanding, according to Yah's law. They don't see any need for that. But what they do want to do is uncover their own heart. That means uncover their own foolishness, bring forth their own understanding, their own opinion. You know what I'm saying? That's what a fool is going to do. So they're not going to delight in y'all's understanding on how to deal with matters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know what I'm saying? Then it goes on to say, verse 3, when the wicked comes, then comes also contempt, and with ignominy reproach. The words of a man's mouth are as deep waters, the
Mm-hmm.
wellspring of wisdom, as a flowing brook. It is not good to accept the person of the wicked, to overthrow the righteous in judgment. All right. And then it goes on to say, a fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calls for strokes. Okay, so I just wanted to highlight in what we read so far, just the manner of a fool, how a fool is going to behave himself. It talks about how his lips are going to enter into contention.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of, this is going in line with what we've talked about. Is that it's just a certain way. A lot of times, it's the way people, it's the way you speak to individuals, especially when brothers are speaking with each other. Sometimes it's the way you talk to it, and also as it relates to customers, the same way. Having a professional, you know what I'm saying, talking in a professional manner,
Having a
having
professional
good customer
demeanor. Yeah.
service. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying, being intreatable, being somebody that is being friendly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that should just be in your nature anyway. That should just be in your spirit anyway. You should want to be hospitable with everybody.
Yeah.
That's what we're called to do. That's what we should do. Now, we've already discussed there's scenarios where it can't happen, but we should be striving and seeking to constantly pursue peace and be able to carry ourselves in a manner that's hospitable. That's what we should be striving to do. Um, but a fool's lips is going to enter into contention. You see some people, they just got trouble constantly following them, and it's because of pride. It's because of that mouth. They can't start running. That's calling for contention.
Mm-hmm.
That's trying to purposely stir up things for the sake of sport. You know what I'm saying? And that in verse 7 it says, a fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snare of his soul. Um, and this in verse 8 it says the words of a talebearer are wounds, and they go down into the innermost parts of the belly. You know, again, all every bit of this is just the mannerisms of a fool, the behavior of a fool, which is always contentious, which
Mm-hmm.
is always trying to stir up strife. You know what I'm saying? So, um, I
So
want
if
to go
you,
read. I
you
want to skip down to verse 12. You got something to say on that?
no, go ahead.
It says, "Before destruction, the heart of a man is haughty or prideful, and before honor is humility."
Mm-hmm.
So we can see here that foolishness is being tied to pride, haughtiness. Foolishness is always tied. In many cases, is tied to pride.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, when you look in the scriptures, pride is synonymous with being a fool.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so much to be said. Again, in pride is obviously when we're in our flesh, when we're being influenced by our flesh. And again, there's no understanding being sought. There's no we're not seeing, because if you're not trying to apply Yah's law and how you deal with brethren, how you deal with whoever you're dealing with, if you're not trying to seek to apply Yah's law to govern your conduct, then it's all by default. You're gonna be operating in foolishness.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So somebody has to believe enough to actually apply these things, not just when it's convenient, but we have to seek to apply these things, and a lot of stuff can be avoided. Um, so let me go down a little further. Um, verse 13 it says, "He that answers a matter before he hears, it is folly and shame unto him." There's a lot of people that will look at matters and they have no clue what's going on. They don't know both sides. They don't know the intricate details of a situation, but they got so much to say about a matter. They got so much to criticize and so much to, what I'm saying. But it says that it's shame to answer a matter before you hear it, before you understand it in context.
Mm-hmm.
We see people all over the internet doing that. You know what I'm saying? Constantly speaking on matters that they don't fully understand. You know what I'm saying? But this is not how y'all wants us to operate. Um, and then it goes on even further in verse 14. Um, it says, "The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit who can bear? The heart of the prudent," verse 15, "the heart of the prudent gets knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
In the ear of the wise seeks knowledge. A man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men." Um, I think I want to stop there. No, I wanted to go to. I wanted to point out verse 19 is where I wanted to also get to. Let me skip down there. It says, "A brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city, and their contentions bars are like the bars of a castle."
Mm-hmm.
You know, we see this a lot of times happen. You know, there is offense that's just so great. Sometimes people can't be won back over. And sometimes it may be the offense may have been caused by that individual,
Mm-hmm.
and and people get offended because you offended, or because you call them out on it. You know what I'm saying? That happens, and it says that when a brother's offended, sometimes it's harder to be won um, than a strong city, and the contentions that spin out of that is like the bars of a castle. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's just impenetrable. So, um, we're just looking in context how the foolish deal with one another, or how a foolish deals with a matter, what matters when it comes to trying to resolve conflict, and how a wise man is going to deal with the matter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and again, first, understanding has to be sought. We have to operate by a certain set of principles that tell us how we need to fix this issue, and that's why we're not to. That's why it says in I'm going to go back to this thing real quick. Uh, Verse 5, it says, "It is not good to accept the person of the wicked, to overthrow the righteous in judgment." That's also in the Torah, where it talks about that, um, you know, we're not to be a respecter of persons in judgment. We're to judge people according to the law. And so when that's not being applied, uh, then we're not going to be able to bring forth right judgment. Um, and when you're accepting a person, whether it be from a gift or whether it be because you have uh, um, you know, a personal, you know, connection with that person, or you have a preference of that person over the other, is going to overthrow judgment. So, you know, again, this is just wisdom on how to deal with matters of conflict. But um, so much good stuff in here, man.
I mean, it's a good word. It's a good word, and just it's so critical because when you're running business, when you're engaging with clients, um, when you're building relationships. At the end of the day, you want to build healthy relationships, and sometimes just by how you engage a client, you can win a client over by making them feel comfortable, by making them feel accepted, by making them feel understood. You can definitely, um, develop a good, solid relationship with the client, and that leads to referral business. That leads to, situations where they say, hey, you know, hey, I got your phone number from, this client, and they said, that you were very pleasant to work with because, and I'll just speak from the perspective of being a contractor, a carpenter, a handyman. You have a lot of nasty attitude people out here, and they lack professionalism. This is why I was saying before, just because somebody has a skill set, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're good in business. It doesn't mean that they can close a client. It doesn't mean that I spoke about the concept of gravitas, that you got to have that certain level of gravitas. when it comes to dealing with clients, when it comes to engaging with clients. You just know how to feel a client
Yeah, it
through,
just
and
got to be a part of your nature,
yeah,
really.
yeah, it got to be a part of your nature, you know. And a lot of people, like I've said before, I know people that are more skilled to me when it comes to this, but they're not more skilled to me when it comes to engaging in clients and closing deals and closing business. They're not, because you just have to have that way and that diplomatic way when it comes to dealing with clients and engaging them, and it's so critical. Um, and are you friendly? Are you cooperative? Are you understanding? I just had a big client, and I went down and I was talking to a brother that I'm going to be getting to come out. We're going to be doing this project together. I sat down with the client. I was able to work through all the issues and concerns. I was able to be consultative, and I called them up today and I said, "Hey, did you get my quote? Did you get my information?" And they was like, "Yeah." You didn't get my email? I said, "No, I didn't. I did. I didn't get your email, but thank you so much." Uh, and they were like, "Hey, thank you."
Thank you.
My little Judith that said that the show was fake. It was a fake show. $250 I spent on this little girl, and she turns around and she wants to leave 15 minutes into the show because it was fake. Everybody else enjoying themselves but her, and we had to kick the trays at $250, man. But it's just about having this nuance and being able to be friendly and showing love and genuine respect and concern, for your clients, for your brother, And I think, how can I say this? I'm a lot more in tune with this kind of stuff now because my livelihood is attached to it. You know, when your livelihood is attached to it, you take a little bit something a little bit more seriously. I tend to think, that the Messiah was a carpenter and Paul was a tent maker, and how did these people deal with their clients? How do you think they engaged their clients? And do you think it spilled over in how they dealt with their brother or their sister?
You make a good point right there. Um, I'm gonna let you
You
finish
know,
your thought. I'm gonna let you
no,
finish
go
your thought.
ahead. I mean, it just popped into my head. These people were businessmen as well. They had to, they didn't live off the backs of others. They went out there and they produced and they got after it. Um, and they sold a product not only to the Gentiles, um, but to the brethren as well. I mean, they had to have clients. Else, why would he say that he was a tent maker? What was the relevance and importance of that? Um, if it, if it wasn't relevant, then why did they state it? You know?
You know, it's something that also is attached to all of our deeds, all of our interactions, is our soul. You know what I'm saying? Our soul salvation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because at the end of the day, it's the fear of Yah that drives you to be a particular individual. If you when you got the fear of Yah operating inside of you, again, these things are just gonna be second nature. You're gonna have a fear of Yah to say to where if I'm not dealing uprightly in this situation, then I got somebody to answer to.
Mm-hmm.
I got him to answer to. You know what I'm saying? Because when you actually believe what that word says, you know what I'm saying, you gonna hold yourself, that word is gonna hold you accountable. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, of course, our livelihood is something that is important as well. But you know what I'm saying, we are in this position to begin with because of the fear of Yah. Because you from the very start, you want to do right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what gives you longevity in business, and really that's what gives you longevity um, and that's what's going to ultimately lead you to being into the kingdom.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
how are you interacting with people? You know what I'm saying?
Doing to others or have you do them doing to you. And I think a lot of problems take place when people don't see that this person is a human being also. That this person has feelings just like they do.
Yep.
That's what you notice. You know what I mean? You think about how somebody will just blatantly do somebody wrong, right? And they won't think for a second about it being done to them. You know, it's amazing, right? I just now you heard this rapper outside of Oakland. This Oakland rapper, right? This woman. She killed her ex-boyfriend. Her ex-boyfriend she killed. Guess what happened to her the other day? Somebody killed her.
Took her out, yeah.
She was on YouTube, on social media, bragging and I'll tell you, she made it was disgusting. It was literally disgusting. Let me show you this, how disgusting this person was. Where is it at? I mean, this woman made a complete mockery out of killing this man. She made a complete mockery out of it. Where this at? Where this at? The Blackout Channel. Where is it at? Where's it? Yo, we got to review this because you got to see how vile people can be. This woman killed.
Wow.
See this. I want you to see this.
I dropped pond and top. You know what I'm saying? So I had to put that on there. Well, not really. Really, it's 3 years ago I dropped pond and top. It's like the anniversary, and I just happen to have court on this. Everything just came together. So I got this to be extra fucking childish, making families mad. And oh well, because they ain't gonna do shit about it.
Right. They not gonna do nothing about it. Right. Grand opening, grand closing. Right. They said he came around in a hoodie. The Grim Reaper came. You're not going to do nothing about it?
This is you see this? You see this? It don't get more violent than that.
That's some sick, satanic, demonic.
You sure about that? You sure about that? You are sure? Are you sure about that?
He's dead.
No, you weren't sure because right now you're somewhere getting smoked on.
Because like, how are you not afraid of like police or did they like side with you on it? Or, like, how did you evade like any type of like consequence basically?
We gonna find that out on September 23rd.
Okay.
Promo alert. I'm telling you. Look at this. Just being very disrespectful, very nasty. He's gone. You wanted to capitalize off of it. That's what you wanted to do. You wanted to capitalize off of it. You thought it was cool to capitalize off of it. Look at this.
Insane.
She's mocking the family of the man she killed in a video.
Totally insane.
You can't make this stuff up.
Wow.
Waxing cold and cold. Look at what she does.
Satanic as hell, man.
Is the epitome of it can't happen to me.
Wait a minute, as long as she did. No.
You know why? Because
Law
she accused them. She accused them of abuse.
Self-defense, huh?
No, she accused them of abuse. Probably was a lie.
She
Because
claimed,
a victim don't act like this.
Yeah. So she probably claimed she did it in self-defense.
Yeah. Yeah, and everybody believe. Look at this. Look at what she's doing.
Look at this. Look at this.
Nah.
She's the epitome of it can't happen to me. You got somebody's family member, right? As their image, right? As their, you're mocking somebody's family member, friends, not just family member, friends, and you got him in a casket with a clown mask on with the red hair, and you the one who put him there. You the one who did that to him, and you want the people to just lay down after you did that? They supposed to just lay down? They supposed to just lay down?
What comes around goes around. She's dead now. Somebody done killed her. Are you getting this? This is her mocking the man that she killed.
Insane.
This is some of the vilest stuff. But see, she didn't think through her own pride. She didn't think that this was going to come around. See, everybody that's out there that has done people wrong, now it's amazing how judgment has come around. How she's in the very same situation as this guy right here. Look at today. People in the very same dead situation that they wanted other people to be in, now that they got to deal with the judge. This is why it's so important for you to understand to do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Right.
Making sure that, you know what I'm saying, in spite, because what comes around goes around.
Right.
Deal with clients honorably. Deal with people honorably, because nobody never thinks that it's going to happen. Did you think that this woman thought that she'd be in the very same situation that she's in now? That she's mocking right now? Think about it.
That's what pride will do to you.
This is a real situation that happened.
Crazy.
Don't expect for you to do other people foul and dirty, and then that same situation doesn't come on to you, because now you got no sympathy. Now you look like a hypocrite. Nobody has no sympathy now. You need to understand how these things operate. How these ebbs and flows take place. That you can't just mistreat people and do people wrong. This is why it's so good, you know what I'm saying, to make sure that even if, you know what I'm saying, from the perspective of a client may be angry at you, just leave it alone, man. Leave it alone. There's other clients out there. There's subtle differences when it comes to situations, but overall, man, there are other clients out there. You know, when a client do me wrong or whatever, oh, your services are no longer needed, this and that. Okay, great, fine. Okay, there's another client out there. For one client that may not want my services no more, there's 2 or 3 clients, man, I did a big review. I did today when it comes to a client. I mean, I'm talking about a huge estimate. I'm talking about $40,000, $50,000 estimate. I'm talking about I'm going to put in. I'm going to need to bring in a couple of brothers. I land this project. I mean, just doing an entire, all I got to get done. All I got to get done. They was like, yeah, man, write up the estimate. Write up the estimate. Write it up. All that subfloor work need to get done. All that carpet needs to be ripped up. All of the flooring. I mean, everything. The whole kitchen need to get done. I'm gonna have to bring in a couple of brothers to get all this stuff done. Look at all this work that needs to get done. Look at all that work. All that flooring, all that laminate flooring throughout the entire house need to get put down. Look at all that work. Look at all that work, man.
It's a blessing, man. It's a blessing.
First client, you know what I'm saying? Oh, your services are no longer okay. All right, well, you know, all right, cool. But then that client is shit. 50 times bigger. 50 to 50 5 5 0 5 50,000 50,000 50 5. Positive mental attitude, man. Gotta have keep it positive, keep it love, keep it positive. Because not only does this strengthen me and strengthen my project, it strengthens the brother that I can get out and call. Yeah, listen here, man. You know, I'm waiting for this other one project, this kit, the bathroom remodel to come through. Bring this brother in, pay him. Got this project come through 40, 50,000, 60,000. Hey, bring some more brother. Bring two brothers out, man.
Yep.
Pay him. All by keeping a positive mental attitude. All by being stoic and being courteous. Because what if I turned around, right? Because these clients, they're looking at my Google reviews.
Yep.
They're looking at my Google reviews. What if I turn around? It's like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? You know, got nasty and stuff, and you know what I'm saying, and did a shitty job, and didn't do my best, and messed up everything. The best thing that I want, the best scenario that I want in that kind of situation is for them to say nothing at all.
Right.
Sometimes it's good to say nothing at all. Sometimes it's just good to shut your mouth. I just did a video about this, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's just good to not respond. Sometimes it's just good because, see, you don't give them fuel.
Right.
I don't want to give nobody fuel to come against me, to put in a bad Google review. This is why I'm looking at. I'm like, man, you know what I'm saying? I make sure, you know, checking on Google, man. They didn't, you know, there's not, say I still got a 5-star review. See that?
Yeah, but see, had you handle it differently, could have deterred what you just landed. You know what I'm saying? Could have deterred that situation.
Now, I ain't get the business yet, but look at the opportunity, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to write up the estimate. I got all of them.
Yeah, but, you know, that one bad review, you know what I'm saying?
Done.
Could have deterred it. You know what I'm saying?
Could deter. One bad review. And this is 2 clients that I had this week that said, you know what I'm saying, after I did work for them, turn around and say your services are no longer needed. Don't know why. Don't know why. Maybe it was the price. I was courteous. I did what they asked me to do. Maybe, you know, I'm thinking that it was the price.
Yeah.
You know, because I hit one for like 1,200 bones. And it took, you know what I'm saying, you know, it equaled it out to like, you know, like $1,300, $130 an hour. I got paid on that one. And the other one, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it ain't take me no more than 2 hours to do, but I got paid $300 for it. I mean, easy stuff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, zip, 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 zip. You know what I'm saying? You know, fixing a hole in the ceiling. And the other one, the floor, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it took me about 3 hours to fix that floor. But you know what I'm saying? You know, that's what I go for. You know what I mean? I be wanting to make at least $100 an hour. If I'm working, man, I got to get paid at least $100 an hour. But I'm not going down on my prices. If they don't like my prices, then they don't like my prices. It is what it is. I'm not in a position to have to negotiate on my prices. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in a position to negotiate. If you want somebody else, if you could find somebody else to do it in the time frame that it needs to be done, then go ahead and get it done. You know what I'm saying? I got no problem with that. But it be, you know what I'm saying? Clients be they need the work done. They want the work done and they can't find anybody. Where's my other glasses at?
Yeah, but like you say, how you handle the situation, it just the Father brought something else in your path, as opposed to
something 50 times greater.
You know what I'm saying? And it's the same way with this walk, man. It's like sometimes it can be it can be a particular way we handle a situation, and it causes us to miss a blessing that the Father may have for us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we didn't handle a situation properly. You know what I mean? And sometimes people get in situations where, like you mentioned earlier, when you lose your temper that one time, you get yourself in a situation you can never get out of.
Yeah.
That could be you losing your life. It could be, shame put upon you, your name.
Yep.
It could be a whole host of things, all because you lose control in an instant. So that's why it's important to have temperance. As a matter of fact, I want to go to Proverbs chapter, and I'm gonna read verses 1 through 10, unless you wanted to make another comment.
No, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, brother. Go ahead and read that, because I want to play this video that I did. It's so important for people to understand what I'm talking about. But
okay.
Go ahead and read the word.
This is Proverbs 22, verses 1 through 10. This is a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, in loving favor rather than silver and gold.
What's a good name is what?
Rather to be chosen than great riches.
Nah, give me the riches. Nah, give me the millions and the billions.
It's rather to be chosen.
Rather to be chosen. Nah, give me the money. Which one would you rather have? A lot of people will choose that money 9 times. I'll tell you, especially in this, but they'll choose that money. Yep. I don't care what nobody think about me. Exactly. I got money. I'm rich, bitch. Nigga, I'm rich. Care what you think about me? What that word say again?
It says it's rather, a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches.
Nah, give me that money. I got that money. I don't give a hell what you think about me. I'm rich. Nigga.
A good name.
A good name
is rather to be chosen.
Rather to be chosen.
Than great riches.
Than great riches. Ain't that something? Huh?
In loving favor, rather than silver and gold.
Oh, there you go. A loving favor. Loving favor. Nigga, I'm rich. Loving favor.
That's how a lot of people
I got
operate.
silver and gold. What you talking about? What?
That's literally how people think.
That's how people think today.
People think.
The hell with my name.
Because who's the loving favor coming from? The Father.
Yeah.
Some people would rather have the riches than have loving favor from the Father.
Yeah.
And some people would rather have great riches than a good name. But see, this is the wisdom
you see
that God
has
given us.
You see that? You see how that works?
Verse 2, it says, the rich and poor meet together, and Yah is the maker of them all. A prudent man foresees evil and hides himself, but the simple passes on and are punished.
Got to be prudent. Got to be
Sometimes we
prudent.
have to foresee evil in many different scenarios.
And when you don't foresee evil, it overtakes you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? This is why the good level of discernment, knowing how to
Yep.
deal with situations.
Right.
And knowing how to engage people and deal with situations, because if you lack discernment and then your judgment is clouded by silver and gold, man, man, you finish, man. You finish. But this is why it's so important to understand these concepts. You know what I'm saying? But the opportunities are there when you understand these concepts, and it's like, hey, like I said, these clients, man, I don't know how I pissed them off, what happened to anything, you know what I'm saying? But they was like, hey, man, your services are no longer needed. It kind of strikes you in the spirit, when a client tells you something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially, you deal, I mean, it happens.
It happens.
It happens.
You know what I'm saying?
And I took it and it was like, all right, well, I mean, I'm sorry about that. Well, you have a blessed day, you know what I'm saying? And it's all good. Then I get this call to do a project this big. So look at all that flooring that need to be put in. I mean, that's a whole house. First and second floor of the entire house. All that flooring need to get done.
And what you just said kind of leads me to the next verse.
Why I do it? Because this one, it costs money to raise these little ones. Huh?
Yep.
They cost money. They ain't free. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Children, man, they definitely got needs that they got to be met. So that's why we got to get out here and get it done. Man.
We got to get it done.
We got a choice.
I mean, everything got to get done up in here, man.
They got a choice. I'm going to verse 4, unless you got another comment you want to make.
Nah, go ahead.
It says, by humility in the fear of Yah are riches and honor in life.
Mm-hmm.
So by having humility in the fear of Yah, then he gives you the riches and the honor in life.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 5 says, thorns and snares are in the way of the froward or the wicked. He that does keep his soul shall be far from them.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody that's perverse or froward, they're gonna, you know what I'm saying, they're gonna prefer the riches over a good name. They're gonna prefer the silver and the gold above loving favor with Yah. They're going to have, enter into contention with their tongue. You know what I'm saying? And so this creates snares and thorns. A lot of times people create thorns and snares because they're constantly entering into contention with they don't know how to live peaceably. There are just some people that just don't know how to live peaceably.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And again, we got to discern those type of people. Sometimes people like that call themselves in the faith. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's people that's in the world. Either way, we have to find a way to navigate around individuals like that to avoid escalations and conflict. You know what I'm saying? Because some people, man, they get a spirit on them, and that spirit is actually after you.
Mm-hmm.
And they're using that individual to try to drive you and tempt you. You know what I'm saying? To go over the edge. And so people like that got thorns and snares all in their path.
Mm-hmm.
But if we keep our soul, then that type of nonsense is going to be far from us. That's what we want. And I want to go, I'm going to skip over to verse 10. I'm going to just end there. And it says,
okay,
cast out the scorner, and contention shall go out.
Mm-hmm.
Yea, strife and reproach shall cease.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes there's situations you gotta find out where the scorner is, and you gotta cast that individual out of your life. Sometimes that has to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta remove the scorn, and then the reproach is gonna go with that all that scorn that individual put out. So there's times we gotta evaluate and discern what we're dealing with, and sometimes it's necessary to cast out the scorner, cast
Mm-hmm.
them out of your life, and then the contention and strife is gonna go out with them, and it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna cease. So all these things we gotta discern when to apply these things. Um, and the Father is all in the Word, man.
I mean, the idea is that it's all about just attempting to strengthen uh, you as we go forward in life and in business, because things are not getting any easier in this world. You see strife and contentions and rivalings and the love of many shall wax cold. I just now showed a video this woman that just mocked this man that she killed, and she turned around and she met the same fate. Somebody killed her, and she monetized and glamorized killing this man, and now she's dead herself. What comes around goes around. Watch how you treat people. Um, and the point that I was making earlier is that the reason why people treat people a certain way is because they genuinely feel that they're beneath them, that they
Yeah,
don't matter,
yeah.
that they're subhuman. Because you'd ask yourself the question, if um you would want me to call your wife out her name, right? So why would you do it to me? You wouldn't want me to steal from you, so why would you steal from me, right? But people will do that to other people because they don't care about the other people.
Hmm.
It's not very difficult to
No
understand, the
respect.
concept to understand. They have no
No
general
respect.
respect for other people. So it's fine for them to do whatever it is that they do to others because they feel as though they're empowered. They feel as though they're above other people. They feel as though that they're above reproach. It feels that they're above correction. But nah, nobody ain't getting by. Nobody ain't getting by at all. I'll tell you, man, I the high brought down low. And in closing, I was reading and watching a video from uh, 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 the story of writing on the wall, and Nebuchadnezzar, he made him eat grass in the field, and he was the king of Babylon, and he made him eat the grass of the field and do and stuff, and that was prophesied. And then an hour before that man's kingdom fell, was it Belshazzar?
Belshazzar.
Belshazzar, the king. Um, and the infamous writing, or where you get the term "the writing is on the wall." They didn't see it. They didn't believe it. They didn't see it. And then when it happened, and it was nothing that could be done to change the course and outcome. So, in conclusion, we say these things to give you a good understanding of what can happen when you don't handle situations correctly, whether with customers or with brethren. When you don't understand how to discern and calm a matter and de-escalate a matter. And sometimes it's just good to just let things play their course and just be quiet, man. Just sometimes be quiet. I mean, I've learned this, and my testimonies in the last couple of months, man. There's certain things I've been quiet on for 8 years, very quiet. And then when judgment hit, and it's just a beautiful thing. Because a righteous man, y'all love judgment, right?
Hmm.
But sometimes that judgment is not going to come via your own hand. Sometimes you just got to shut your mouth and just let things be, and just let things play its course. Because don't y'all give them over to a reprobate mind? Don't y'all give them over to a reprobate mind because they failed to accept and love and receive the word of the truth? I mean, that's y'all's doing. It's all y'all's doing, and so we have to be cognizant that these things take place. Be humble, uh, be loving, be kind to your clients. I mean, I can't be pissing my clients off because there's repercussions. in the spiritual and in the natural. You can't be pissing your clients off. You can't be doing shoddy and shitty work for your clients because there's spiritual and natural implications to doing that. So that's what I'll say, in closing. And you got anything to say?
Like somebody had a question right there.
What happens when the spirit leaves you? The spirit leaves you. That's what happens,
Well,
yeah. You want to
I
answer?
mean, really, if you're still cognizant of that, it shows that he hadn't left. It's when people, like you just mentioned, got a reprobate mind
Mm-hmm.
where they are just convinced that they're going into the kingdom and they're still in unrepented and unconfessed sin. That's how you know a spirit has left the individual. But you can't tell them that; they'll never know.
Yeah, it's like Saul. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can't tell these folks nothing. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta sit back and just let the thing play out. Things will always play out in the glory of Yah. You just gotta sit back and let things play out, man. You know what I mean? Once you get, I'm 47, man. It's just like I just don't have the energy that I once had. You know what I'm saying? In terms of dealing with things and engaging in things, man. If somebody don't want to be bothered with me, beautiful, man. No problem. If a client doesn't want to do business with me, beautiful, no problem, no issues whatsoever. I ain't got no ill will in my heart whatsoever because look at that. You know what I'm saying? I'm honored and blessed to be able to put in a a a, a, a $50,000 bid for a large contract, and not only be it the Father's will if I get it, is going to strengthen my house, but put funds in the pockets of other brethren as well, and pay them well as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I mean, all of these things they're a lesson, and this is why we try and get up here and share these experiences with you folks out there, so that you can go and apply and stay encouraged. Because we look and we don't got messages like this in Israel. I mean, we don't have messages like this for helping out other carpenters and contractors and plumbers and handymans, whatever, that's actually doing this thing and is dedicated to strengthening our brothers that are getting out there and are producing um and ain't got to work these damn slave wage jobs, man. And we can make it ourselves and we can produce for ourselves. Trust me, there's very few of us out here that are doing what we're doing. So stay encouraged. We need one another. We need one another's encouragements. We need one another's um, uh, guidance and direction and understanding. We need one another so that we can encourage others to do the same thing. There's so many opportunities out there. Why is it that we don't want to look at the apostles and see what they did and the lifestyle that they had, not only from a spiritual perspective, but from the perspective of what they did for a living, how they provided for their families, and why don't we want to duplicate that? Um, it's just a beautiful thing. So y'all need to stay encouraged and continue to reach out and share ideas and share resources with one another. I mean, it's just nothing more beautiful to be able to break bread, make money, do projects with brothers, and fellowship at the same time. And everybody lines their pockets. It's just a beautiful scenario, and you don't see much of any of that out there today. There's very few examples in from all of the call themselves Israelites. All that say that they're in the faith. Um, uh,
Very few.
I'm telling you, man. I scanned, and I couldn't see no more than a dozen brothers, a dozen.
Mm-hmm.
Doing carpentry or doing any kind of work like we're doing. Um, but this is why we call it the Carpenters Corner. This is our corner for us to encourage one another, share ideas, network with one another, um, uplift one another, uh, because we just don't have much of that, in this time and the hour that we're living in. So, with that being said, well, we will close up with grace now because it was provided scripturally. We'll get into that afterwards. But Heavenly Father, Elohim, thank you for us bringing us here tonight in Carpenter's Corner, and us for to nourish our bodies, Heavenly Father, with the awesome food that my wife has been able to prepare as she continues to play her role. Um, and as we continue to play ours, Heavenly Father, as we receive this food in our spirits and in our bodies to strengthen our bodies, so that we can go out and be blessed in the labor of our hands, Heavenly Father. Blessed to feel together and here prepared it, and it has nourished and filled our body and filled our guts. In the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ the King, Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, yeah. So y'all stay encouraged. Y'all stay beautiful, and we're gonna cut it. We're gonna do it an hour and a half. We're gonna keep it, as short as possible,
Okay.
going forward. And please share this. Share this. Any carpenters, anybody that you know, share this video. Like I say, like, subscribe, thumbs up, do all that good stuff. As we continue to go on and encourage and uplift one another in this walk of being blessed through the labor of our hands, and strengthening our brother, because that's what it's about. Strengthening your brother, not only in word and in deed.
Right.
Strengthening your brother, not only in word but in deed.
Right.
We need it in word and in deed. People talking the talk, but few people walking the walk. But with that being said, y'all have a blessed night. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Okay. We'll get better at this. Huh?
Yeah, we getting better.
We're getting better, huh?